Hi there, my name's Alison and I'm podcasting to you today from the Scottish borders in the UK. I'm lucky, it is a wonderful part of the world, it really is. And I've just recently taken up knitting again. I've been working full-time over the last few years and haven't really had that much time for knitting. I used to get home so tired, too tired to even knit. So I've been wanting to do this podcast for quite some time. I got back into knitting, as I say, a few weeks back now. And I've been sitting watching other podcasters and they do such a wonderful job. The content is absolutely fantastic and they've kept me entertained for hours. I just binge watch certain podcasters and knit and binge in the evenings. I also work in the evenings as well. I'm actually a full-time dog trainer. But that does give me a bit more time really during the day, and it's mainly the evenings I work. But if I finish early, then I'll dash home and get out my knitting needles and stick on a podcast. The only thing I've found with them is that sometimes, well, actually most of the time, the yarn that they use is actually really quite expensive. It's hand dyed, it's hand spun, and usually costs, in the region of between £12 and £16 for a skein. Now, I haven't got that kind of income to spare, unfortunately, as much as I would love to buy it. I just don't have it to spare. And if I do end up spending that kind of money, I am riddled with guilt afterwards. Absolutely riddled with guilt. And I feel, I shouldn't have spent. I know I shouldn't. I've earned the money, and all the rest of it, and probably do deserve the odd skein of wool that costs £16. But no, I do feel bad about it. And I think to myself, there's no need to spend that kind of money on wool, really. You can get some very good yarns these days that have got, yes, they've got more of an acrylic content and they're not perhaps all pure wool, but at the same time, they're very wearable and they go into the washing machine, okay? So if you are knitting for children or grandchildren, and they perhaps don't appreciate the work that you've put in as much as what you do or another knitter would, then it's not so damaging cost-wise if the garment gets ruined at the end of it by throwing it into a washing machine. And I find that quite disheartening. You've spent hours and hours knitting a piece and then you give it away to somebody and the next time you see it, it's slung on a washing pile all screwed up along with all the other baby clothes. So that's another reason why I don't use expensive yarn. Also, I knit a lot for charity. So obviously churning it out sometimes, like I have done in the past, it can get quite expensive. So there's no way that I can use these yarns. And also you find that if you're knitting for, say, the homeless, then a lot of the time, if they go to a shelter and they're getting their washing done, it'll all be thrown into a machine. If it's sent abroad, again, they don't have access to be drying it, perhaps drying it flat, but they don't have the time to mess around fiddling around washing garments and getting them back to the right shape and everything if they're in in some of the positions that they're in. The idea is to get them stuff that is wearable, that is warm, and also you have to think a lot of people can't wear wool. So acrylic really is the best bet, or a wool stroke acrylic, something with acrylic in it to send off to them is a good idea as well. So I'll start with, everybody seems to start with what they're drinking and the mug that they're drinking it in. So here we go. This is this was given to me by my daughter for my birthday. One of my daughters, I've got 4 daughters. This is from number 2 daughter, the second eldest, and it's got on there "Be Happy." So that's my Be Happy mug, and I do like it. You don't need an expensive mug. I don't know where she got this from. She's a fan of B&M, so it probably came out of there, and why not? And in it, although I've nearly drank it, is some hot chocolate. Now, I'm trying to lose a bit of weight, so I'm not only just being frugal with my wool and the yarn that I buy, I'm also trying to be frugal with what I eat and drink, although it's not really working out that way. I love chocolate, and whenever I go to a petrol station, I have to pick up a packet of Maltesers. I absolutely adore them, and so I'm trying not to do that. So instead of delving into chocolate, I thought I'd have one of these low calorie hot chocolates. This is 80 calories. It's one of those I don't know. Anyway, it's all right, and it's in this mug, and I'm enjoying it, but it's nearly all gone, so I'm just going to finish it off. Sorry about the gulping there. So what really kind of pushed me into starting this podcast off this week was at the weekend. I usually get a magazine, the Knitting magazine, and there's some lovely garments in there to make, and I was flicking through it and I found an ad for a yarn shop. We don't have any very local yarn shops to where I live, unfortunately. You have to travel to get yarn. We've just had one opened up where I live, which I just started going to a weekly Elms Ind Est group there. They do other crafts as well, sewing and everything, but I've just started going there, so that's great. It is mainly cloth they sell. It's more of a quilter shop than a knitter shop, but they do have some yarn in there, which is good. And also, to get really cheap yarn, then I have to go to my nearest town, Berwick-upon-Tweed. There's a pound shop, there's Home Bargains, and a B&M. So I've got those, but that's quite, that's sort of like 3/4 of an hour journey for me. So I only really go there if I'm heading out that way anywhere, because if not, you're not saving because of the cost of petrol these days. It's just not worth it. I keep my eye open in charity shops, but I've even found the charity shops now, even with their yarn that they've got, they're putting such a price on it, just for scraps. But I always try and get out of charity shops if I can, because obviously you're supporting those. So what came about was we decided we would go over to a tiny little village in Northumberland called Felton, and there is a fibre shop there called a yarn shop there called Fine Fettle Fibres, and I've been wanting to go for a while, and you can find them. They're online, finefettlefibres.uk. Absolutely, the wool in there, it's to die for. It was fantastic. It was just so you can wander. It's quite, they've got such a lot in there, but it was really kind of out of my price range. Even the bargain bin was out of my price range. Nothing against the shop. It was fine. The yarn was beautiful, and if you do want to go out for a drink, if you're in the northeast out that way and you want to go along to Felton, go along, because it really is lovely. I did buy something while I was in there, and this is why I ended up decided to go frugal once and for all, and I purchased 2 skeins of this fibre. Now this was the cheapest fibre I could cheapest yarn I could find, and this is by Amber Wandering Souls. I don't know if you can see that. It's fingering weight yarn. It's made in Peru, so it's not even a local yarn, but it's so, I wish you could feel it. It is so soft and squidgy. It's lovely, and it's a sock yarn, and I'm going to use this. So they're just 25 skeins each, so that's only 50 grams. So, but I'm thinking about, I'm only a size 5. So I thought maybe if I didn't do a very long cuff on the sock, there would be enough. But if not, I'm just going to do some like trainer socks with them. Now, there's no price on there. And then I picked up, I wanted to do a shawl in this lovely green colour. And this is West Yorkshire Spinners. So again, it's not an expensive, you know, it is mass produced. Well, I don't know if it's well, it is mass produced, isn't it? But it's not all hand done. And this is called Exquisite, and it's 4-ply. It's 80% Falkland wool and 20% mulberry silk. So that I got as well, and that is called Eden. The colour is Eden. So I've got that to do a shawl, and that's 4-ply. Now, here's my receipt. So my Exquisite 4-ply 100 grams, this was £16.50, which isn't too bad if you're doing knitting a shawl. You're going to get a whole shawl out of this. This is for a 1 skein shawl. So if you're doing that for a gift, that's really not expensive at all. Plus you've got the pleasure of doing it. But that is still, that's the West Yorkshire Spinners. That's not going to be hand dyed and hand spun. So but it's absolutely lovely. It's really lovely and soft and everything. But even that for me is a lot of money. So that was £16.50, and these small skeins, they were £6.80 each. So together that came to £13.60, which isn't bad. But at the same time, if I'm only going to get a pair probably of trainer socks out of that. So would I go out and buy a pair of trainer socks for £13.60? Probably not, but they are going to last me. They are, you know, I'm not going to be wearing them for every day. I shall keep them, you know, for special. And they're going to be good quality and they'll last me a long time. But, and then I went mad. I'll show you, this is that the bag I bought? No, that's not it. Oh, I bought this bag as well because I absolutely love these bags. I've got another one which I'll show you in a minute with my project in, and these are by, is it Emma Ball, oh, you probably know Emma Ball. And I'd seen other podcasters with these, and I thought, oh, I must get one. There was one there. So I bought the bag as well. So that was £13. So in the end, I'd spent £43.10. And then because it was like a day out to go to this yarn shop, we went for a walk, and then we went for, what did we have in the pub? Oh, we went to the local pub. And I thought we'd find a little tea shop. There was one there, but we had the dog with us, and there wasn't enough room to take the dog in as well. They did allow dogs in, but there wasn't enough room. So we went to the pub, and we had, I had a J2O. Iona had, I think it was a Coke. She had just a bowl of chips. I had soup, and just like they gave you a sourdough roll with it. And that was another 20 quid. And then there was the petrol going there. So I came back and thought, oh, I shouldn't have done that. But that is my last fling. Okay, that is my last fling. I'm not doing it again. Because I know I don't really feel bad about it. But I shouldn't have done it. So that's that. So now last week I did have a bit of luck. Oh, I'll just show you what I'm wearing first. Now this is, what's it called? I've got my notes here. I'm going to have to keep on looking at my notes because I'm not a very organised person. Right, this was called the 1 skein Rhapsody Hug, and I got it. I found this, where was it? I'm trying to think. It's on Ravelry anyway, and it's designed by Nell Ziroli. I think that's how you spell it. Nell Knits. And why I keep going like this is it is a one skein hug, but I didn't want to spend the money on the yarn again, and I used what did I use? I've got it written down here. I used 100-gram balls of King Cole Drifter, which is an Aran weight yarn in the colourwise Dolomite. They come in 100-gram balls. I can't remember how much it was. It was still, it wasn't cheap. It was still sort of like £9 or something. But then that's a hell of a lot cheaper than some of these hand-spun, hand-dyed ones. So I think it was £9 something. And yeah, and I just loved the colour of it. I thought it was lovely. The only thing is, you see this bit here? What happened was I ran out of yarn for casting off. I was playing yarn chicken and lost. And if you can see there, that is actually a different yarn completely from the rest of it. I just so happened to have some in my stash that was and I don't think that you would know really that it was a different yarn. The only thing is obviously the tension's different, and it tends to, it's either that or I've cast off too tightly, I don't know, and it keeps curling up, which I find really annoying. So what I thought I could do, it's okay when I'm in the house, because that's all I've really did it for, was when I'm sitting there in the evenings knitting, because I don't like to have too much on my arms. So this is just enough to cover your shoulders while you're working away, and you can still move your arms. So it's really only for my use indoors. But then I thought, and it's so soft, and I thought, well, if I do want to go out, I can just use it, you see, as a cowl really, and just have it like that. See how it's going up there now? And just have it like that, and just have it inside my coat. And I thought, well, that will do as well. And I think that looks okay. You know, you wouldn't know. It's only, you know, you and me that knows that now. So yeah, so I was quite pleased. I do love this, and I'd like to use it again for something. But I don't know. I'm going to take it off because it's a bit hot. It's not really cold today. But that's what I've just finished, and it was so easy to do. It's an Aran weight, and it just took me 2 nights to do that, 2 evenings to finish that off, and it's just so soft. I'm only just getting to grips with knitting in the round. I've always been a flat knitter, but now so many patterns are in the round. I'm having to get used to using the, you know, knitting in the round patterns. You'll have to excuse me if I'm not looking at the screen properly. I'm trying to look at the dot so that I'm looking at you, the flashing dot on my but I'm scared that I'm looking in the wrong direction, so please excuse me. Right, so that is the pattern for that, it's a paid pattern which you can get off of Ravelry, and it really is a nice pattern. But don't do what I do, you know, just allow that little bit extra to what you might need for casting off. Don't play yarn chicken like I did. So that's that. Which leaves me, I was going to tell you about the bargains that I found, or came across, or found me actually, this week. So I've just rejoined a Knit and Natter group, which I started about 15 years ago. But it wasn't Knit and Natter then. We was knitting for Caos, K-A-S, and that was Knit a Square for charity. And we used to knit squares and send them off to Knit a Square, and they would get sent out to South Africa and knitted up by all the grannies there into blankets for the children. We knitted jumpers, hats, oh gosh, you name it. We sent it off in the sackload. Postage got rather expensive, so then we turned to sending our knits to Stitches of Hope, and if I can find out how to do it, I'll put the details underneath. Stitches of Hope are a wonderful, wonderful organisation. They'll take hats, scarves, gloves, jumpers, anything you can knit, and you send it down to them, and it is so gratefully received, and they will take it out. They have lorries that go out to Eastern Europe. They used to send out to Africa, and that I don't think they do now. I think it's mainly Eastern European countries, and obviously the Ukraine they're supporting now as well. So anyway, I started up this group, and I had it go for a couple of years, and then I had to go back to work full time. So I handed the group over to some of the original knitters that were there, and for some reason they had to move out of where we used to sit and knit, and I think that it closed down or something, so they then found a local hall to go into, and it was then changed from the Knit Square group to a Knit and Natter, so everybody just knits what they like now. They still knit for charity, but you know, mainly people are working on their own projects. So anyway, I decided I would go along, and as luck would have it, the very first week that I walk through the door, a lady comes in bringing cones of wool that had been handed down to her. I think a member of her family had passed away, and she was left with all these cones of wool, and she brought them into us to see who would like some. There was about 4 boxes of these cones. Anyway, I picked up, you wait till you see this, which is pure wool, a massive big cone, in this lovely, that's about probably the right colour that you're seeing on the screen. That's the actual colour. So it's a nice sort of autumn colour. It's pure wool. I don't know what the weight of it is. It's called Super Slalom in amber. I think it's been stored up for a while. I don't know. It's just a lace weight yarn. It's just like 2-ply. So I'm going to be using this for making some shawls. But that's pure wool. It never cost me a penny. So I was really, and I'm going to get loads out of that. That's going to just about last forever. It's really heavy. I haven't weighed it, but yes, I was really pleased with that. And then I picked up, I thought I picked up 3 altogether. I've got another one somewhere. And then I picked up this, it's just an acrylic one, again, sort of like lace weight, but it's so pretty. Some of that has been used. Let's see, got one here. Optic Apple. It had originally been 400 grams spun in Yorkshire. Maybe it is wool. I don't know. I didn't think it was. Seems very, very soft for it to be wool. But so I've got that as well. So that's those 2. Put them back up there. I thought I had another one. Just hang on there, because I think I might have another one. Sorry about the rustling. I said it'd be unprofessional, and it is. And this was the other one that I picked up, and this is wool as well. This is a pinky colour. I think they're pretty old. They've been stored up. This is Shetland wool, and it's in the colour powder. And it is about like that colour that you can see there on the screen. Yeah. So, and again, that's just a 2-ply, but it can be used for shawls. I could even double it up, you know. I picked up this one at the weekend, so they could even perhaps be used together. I don't know. I'll show you those in a sec. So that's another one. I'm going to put all this stuff. Another one that I've got. So I picked up those, which was great. And then that, I think it was exactly so the day after, I went to, sorry, I keep looking away. You have to forgive me. I'm going to try to look in the right position. The day after, I wandered down to the local charity shop and I found these skeins of wool. And I think they're wool. I'm pretty sure they're wool. I don't think, well, they are wool. You can tell. And I don't think, do they do skeins in acrylic? I don't know. But anyway, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 25-gram skeins for £2. So again, I was chuffed to bits. I thought it's just landed in my lap this week. But this, I found it was right at the bottom of a bin. It's a charity shop where everything's just jumbled up, and I went in and I just delved to the bottom of this what looked like they had handicraft stuff in, and sorry about the crumpling, and yeah, so I was really pleased to find that for £2. And the lady on the desk, she said to me, she goes, I was thinking about having that, so I thought, oh, too late, I've got it. So I was really pleased with finding that. And then this weekend, we'd come out of church and my daughter reminded me it was the local, we don't have the Women's Institute up here in Scotland, it's the Rural. And every year they have an annual show where they put all in their handicrafts and baking and everything, and it's open to the public to go and have a look round. And they had a crafty stash stall. And on there, I found this, and this, 20p each. Well, there was loads more, but I thought I can't because I felt like a pig. I really did, scrabbling it all up. So I chose these 3, and I think they all go quite well together as well, if I wanted to. Yeah, so there was all 20p each. So this one is, it's got on it many a mickle, and it came from Darwin in Lancashire, and that is, I didn't see this before, but it's got on there 100%, well, pure new wool. So so there was that one. Again, they're all just fingering weight yarns, so ideal for shawls. And of course you can use them together. And then there's this one inside that. It doesn't say anything in there, but I'm pretty sure it is wool. I'm pretty sure. This one, I don't think it is. I think this is acrylic. And this is called Camel. It's very, very soft. I think it's too soft for to be wool. But even so, for 20p, I'm not going to leave it behind. So I was really, really pleased with that. I also picked up, which I've left them downstairs, so I can't show you now, 2 Rowan pattern books, brand new. A lady in Jedburgh used to have a yarn shop, and she closed, unfortunately, and I think it was some of her stock that had been given away or something. So I picked up 2 brand new books by Rowan with lots and lots of patterns in. Again, 20p each. And I looked on eBay because I didn't know whether or not they were still out there, and all the rest of it. I know I'm not going to use the Rowan wool to, well, I may do, to knit something out of there. But yeah, I looked at them, they're still in publication, and I think one was one about £17, the other one was about £12. So again, I was really pleased with that. So they've gone onto my shelf. So I had a really good week of finding some, nice inexpensive wool. I doubt if it was going to happen like that again. It was just sent from heaven. I was really pleased with it. So that was that. Right, so with these podcasts, I've noticed that people then show their work in progress, their whips. So at the moment, I haven't got much on. No, the completed items. That's it. Well, you saw my Rhapsody hug that I did. I don't think I'll make another one of those because I don't really need another one unless I do it for charity. So completed at the moment. I haven't really got anything else to show you much because, well, I've got one thing. Actually, I've only got one thing. Oh, I've got two, but I have to go and get it. Hang on a sec. My socks. You'd think I'd have it all prepared around me. Sorry, they have been worn. I love these socks. I've got a few pairs of them now. And I use the pattern from the Wimrick Mum. It's just a plain sock. They call it vanilla, a vanilla sock. So it's got no pattern on it at all, but it's self-patterning. So you don't really need to do any patterns for them to look great. And I'm a size 5 and I always cast on 60 stitches. It's the same pattern I always use as the other one. So you know that I haven't cheated and just done one. So sorry. And not only that, but I don't, if I'm just knitting them for myself, I don't bother matching up the yarns. So they are slightly different, but I don't really care. They only go in my boots. I just use them in my walking boots or my wellies. Or I stick them on at night if I really get cold. So, and that is they've got a collection. It's all birds. And I think this one was kingfisher. I've done mallard, I've done pheasant, and I've just started. Well, I'll show you what I've started later. But yeah, so I finished those. So that was good. And they're so quick and easy to knit. And I like to take them if I'm at knitting group because you can just mindlessly knit away and you don't have to worry about doing any patterns or anything, so you're not going to make any mistakes. So I usually take something like that to a knitting group because it's just so easy, you haven't got to think about it. So those, and then I met a lady in a local town the other day. I went into this craft shop, which I've been meaning to go in for such a long time, and I went in there just for a look around. I got chatting to her, and she actually sells shelf space. So I used to rent shelf space once before to sell crafts. I used to do scarves and cards and bits and bobs and that. So yeah, so I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll just take some shelf space. Just one is really inexpensive, neither here nor there. She does like you to spend, I think, the odd day in the shop to help out on the, if anybody comes in to buy anything, just so that she can have a day off. So I said, that's fine, that suits me great because I can just sit there and knit. I don't think it's a particularly very busy shop. It's not in a touristy area or anything like that. So yeah, but it's just something, it keeps you, it's a reason to carry on knitting, and it just, I don't know, it just makes you, I think about your knitting, making sure that it's accurate and it's well done. So anyway, so I thought I haven't really got time to start on anything new, so I thought I'll just do something that's quick and easy. And when I used to sell my knitting, I used to sell lots of dishcloths. People used to love the dishcloths, and I used to bundle them up in packs of 4 and put a ribbon around them. And I used to do them in the Lion brand yarn, and I used to do a red one, a yellow one, a blue one, and a white one. And they don't do the yarn anymore. So I sent away for 3 balls of Lion brand yarn in 3 different colours, more sort of muted colours rather than primary colours, because I think people like muted colours really more now. And then somebody said to me, oh, well, they sell 100% cotton yarn at the garden centre. So I thought, well, I'll go and have a look. So I found this. It's James Sibret. It's 100% pure double knit cotton. And there it is. So I thought, well, I don't know, I think it's a bit soft to be like for a dishcloth. So but I thought, well, I'll give it a go. Anyway, I knitted it up. Now you have to excuse because this has been something else has been used. I'm always so impatient. Anyway, so I knitted up this dishcloth. Now it's been used and it's still wet. So and as you can see, it's gone a bit loose. The stitches have gone a bit loose, but it was really kind of too soft, I think, for a dishcloth. But it was so soft, I thought, oh, perhaps it would do as a face cloth. So so I went on to Ravelry, and I thought, yes, people do use, you know, this yarn for face cloths, and they do use this kind of pattern. Although if I was going to be knitting it for face cloths, I think I would just do a knit and a purl side, so that you've actually got, so you haven't got these ridges on your face. Although, to be honest, it didn't really make any difference, and it was so soft. So I'm keeping this one for me, and then what I may do is knit some more up in this, whether or not I might sort of like do them, knit a couple of face cloths and put a little soap or something on them, just so, you know, as cheap gifts. But so I'm going to keep that, and I'm definitely going to do some more, and then I shall just wait for my Lion brand yarn to come to do the actual dishcloths. So that's that. So that's all I've got to show you that's actually completed. No, it's not actually. Hang on again. Wait there. It's a good job I'm doing this from my bedroom and not downstairs. I'm doing it up here actually because I've got dogs, and if anybody ever comes to the door, it's such a racket down there. I knew that you know, you wouldn't be able to hear me or anything. So so this hat was actually a test knit I was doing for somebody on Ravelry. I won't tell you too much about it because it hasn't been published yet. So where are we? So it's just this little hat here. That's all it was, and used by using the magic loop method. And that's the first time I've ever done that. But it's for that I just used, what was the yarn I used? I'm trying to think of the yarn. Hang on, I'll just get you the ball band. I'm up and down like a yo-yo. Next time I should be more organised, I promise. So yeah, it was just this. It was 99p, crafty things, nibble knit yarn, and that was from the pound shop. That was that. But it's lovely, and it's lovely and soft. So I'm just going to send that off to charity, that one, because I've got enough hats. Nobody needs a hat in our family. And I didn't do it to any particular, I did it to a small size, which is okay. It would fit me and it fits my daughter. I took some photographs, but I've still got to update my Ravelry things and fill in the questionnaire for this knit for the tester. So that was okay. It was used, it was knitted, as I say, using the magic loop method, which I hadn't used before. And to be honest, if I'm knitting hats for charity, I would find a quicker method. It is, it's a great pattern, don't get me wrong. So I'm not going to give you too much away because it's not published yet. But it was knit one, purl one in rib, which makes it really, really stretchy, which is great. But it just took so long. And to be honest, I got quite bored. I got quite bored with it. So great if you're knitting a hat for yourself or your family member, but if you like to whiz them off the needles for charity, probably not the best one to do, or the best pattern to use. But it is nice, and this yarn is actually fine. I don't know if I would use it for a sweater or anything, but it's a warm wash at 30 degrees, cold rinse, short spin, and you can even tumble dry it on a low heat. So for 99p for that, it's for 100 grams. That's not bad. If you want to knit, and if you're practicing your knitting, if you've only just started, you know, use this cheap yarn. Don't go out buying the expensive stuff. If you're going to make mistakes, make it on the cheap yarn, you know. So that was that. So, trying somewhere to put these things. else have I got? That's it really. So what I'm knitting at the moment, I'll tell you a disaster first. This is my disaster. I bought this because I love the colour. Okay, I love the colour, and it's so soft. And it was in a yarn shop when I visited a local town in Hoyk. I had to go over there to I was training a dog over there, and I don't know if I told you. Did I tell you I'm a dog trainer? So anyway, I went over there to help somebody train their dog. Thought, well, I knew there was a yarn shop. I went in. Obviously, you're going to buy something. I didn't want to spend a lot of money, but this, I can't remember. I can't even remember what yarn it is, what company or anything else, but it came in one of these where you pull it out from the middle. Came home, just slung it on the bed, came back up, and the dog, my puppy, had it. I've got a border collie puppy, Yogi his name is. He's 5.5 months old, and he'd started so it was covered in hair and bits and bobs. But the thing was, it was to make a cowl. It was to make a cowl, and the pattern was on the inside of the ball band, and it looked really nice. And I thought, oh, I've got the pattern, I've got the wool, it's not, So I was quite excited about it, but it chewed up the ball band that had the pattern on it. So I was really disappointed. So I found a bit of the ball band. Now I can't remember. It could have been style. I can't remember. I'm not going to say because I can't remember. Anyway, I remembered the yarn manufacturer, because this is going back a few weeks now. I remembered the yarn manufacturer's name. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll email them and ask them if they can tell me where I can get the pattern. So I did that, and the very next day I got a lovely email back saying what a catastrophe. I told them what had happened. They said, as it so happens, I have a ball of that particular wool sitting on my desk, and what I'll do is I will take a photograph and send you the pattern. So that's what they did. So I've got the pattern now on my phone, and I've still got this. I just hope that when it does unravel, it unravels, because it was quite a mess, and I just quickly wound it up. So I've got that, and it is so pretty, and it is so soft and squidgy. And again, that's not an expensive. It wasn't an expensive. I think it was about £6 or something. So not too bad. And I should have some left. I shouldn't think I'll need all of that for a cowl. Right, so I'm in the middle of doing that. Now, this time last year, I'm not a crocheter at all. I don't crochet. The only thing I can do is like squares and things. So I started, while I was watching TV one night, crocheting this. Just I was just going to do a blanket. So I used up all my scrap yarn. Well, not all of it, but the colours that I wanted it to be bright and cheerful. And at the same time, that's the dog coming in. Hello, Yogi. At the same time, I was in a square swap on Facebook, and I sent some squares off better than these. I do some like this sometimes if I'm feeling brave, and I sent some squares off to a lady in Canada, and these are what she sent me back. And I've also got some more squares all over the place. So what I thought I might do is just sort of like start putting some squares around the outside so I can use these up. Or perhaps I might use them sort of like one in each corner. But this is a long going project. I haven't done any of this for ages. I'm not that keen on crocheting. I've never learnt it properly. And my tension's all over the place. And so it's not something I do very often. My daughter, who I live with, she's started crocheting, so you never know, I might pass this on to her and she can finish it off for me. So that's that. Also at the moment what am I doing? I'm knitting this shawl. which again, I just love the colours. Now, it's all squashed on one needle at the moment. I don't know if you can see there. And that is what I've been taking to Knit Club as well. And because it goes to Knit Club, there might be the odd mistake, because where more nattering goes on than knitting and you're not really concentrating. But you can see the colours there, it's lovely. And that is, the colour is Sea Breeze, and it's a Stylecraft yarn, and that, if you can see, is the shawl that you can. They did have that colour in the shop and I really loved it, and they had it made up as a sample, but I really don't suit that colour at all, so I chose this one instead. And another lady in the knit group, she'd already finished it, completed it, and she'd actually done it in this colour as well, and it was absolutely lovely. It's so easy, it's just knitting all the way through, but what you do is you cast on 5 stitches at the beginning of each row, and then you cast off 2. So you're casting on 5, then casting off 2, and it leaves this lovely edge to it, and it's just so simple to do. And this is the wool, so you get all that, and that was, I thought there was a price that, yeah, so that was £11.50, and it's a great big ball, 100-gram ball of wool, and they reckon you can get about two shawls out of it, so that's not bad. So you can knit one for yourself and then one perhaps as a gift or something. So, you know, if that's half of £11.50, so that's what, £5.50, £5.75 for sure. You can't beat that, and it's lovely. The only thing I don't like about it, it does contain mohair, so it does tend to tickle the back of my throat and make me sneeze a bit. I don't get on with mohair at all. Somebody suggested, after I've made it, putting it in the freezer, and I have heard that before, for about half an hour. And obviously you can just wash it through and that'll settle the fibres as well. Sometimes mohair even gives me my asthma. So again, that was a free pattern on the back of the ball band there. And where are we? I'm looking on the wrong side, I'm not even thinking properly. Right, so it's 85% acrylic, 10% wool and 5% mohair. So yeah, so that's quite, and Stylecraft have quite a good Facebook group as well. So you can go on there and see what everybody else is knitting, and they really are quite good. I like Stylecraft. As I say, it's quite inexpensive, it's affordable, and they do some lovely things. Right. So that's that. I've also, excuse the rustling, I'm in the process of using King Cole Autumn Chunky. Now, I started knitting this about a year ago, and I was going to give it as a Christmas gift to my daughter. She wanted a big baggy cardigan. This is colourways Frozen, and she wanted a big baggy cardigan. So anyway, I don't know if I've got the, where's my pattern? Can't even find the pattern now. Got the pattern somewhere. Where's the pattern? I'll see if I can find you the pattern in a bit. So anyway, I've been knitting this. So I got as far, I've done, what I've actually done, I did the front and, no, I've done the whole of the back and half the front. And the lady in the shop, she kindly put my wool to one side. As I say, I don't really go to Berwick unless I have to go there for something else. And this is about you. And then she wasn't very well, so the shop had to close and I couldn't get in to get my yarn. And you know what it's like when you first start off knitting and you're going really well, you just want to carry on and get it finished. Well, because I couldn't get to the shop and then the shop was closed, it got shoved to the side. So I finished That's the back. I don't know if that's coming up a true, catch it like that, that's sort of like the true colour there. So I knitted the back, I did the front, so it's got these pockets that you add. So I've done the back and the 2 fronts, so I've still got the sleeves to do, but because I couldn't get the wool for ages, I sort of like went off the boil with it and got so that I really kind of couldn't be bothered with it. I wanted to show you the pattern. I don't know where it is because it's just a straightforward pattern. Let me see if I can go and find it. I'm up and down again. Here it is. Now you can see how long I've had it because the pants are scrumpled up. So there it is. It's just a chunky yarn. And that's the cardigan. It's quite straightforward cardigan. Really easy knit. But you know, I don't know. I've got this thing about cardigans and jumpers. And that is, I just hate doing the sleeves. And I hate sewing them up. So this is a good idea why I am now going to be practicing knitting in the round, because it's going to eliminate a lot of sewing up, and I've yet to do a jumper knitting in the round, but I can't wait to get started. So that is what I need to finish for my daughter, and I've promised her she will get it by this Christmas. So that's that. So I'm doing that. I've got so many things on the go. This is why I never get anything finished, because I do a bit of this and a bit of that. But that's half the fun, I think. What have I got in here? There's nothing in there. This is another bag by Emma Ball. Is it Emma Ball? Yeah, Emma Ball. So I've got 2 of these bags. So one I treated myself. It was with some birthday money I had. I sent for this one, and then the other Emma Ball one that you saw a little while ago is what I bought at the weekend. So they're lovely, lovely bags. They're really good. And then I just hang them up on the back of the door with that. What else have I got? Is this my next? No. No. This is, right. Yeah, I've started on this shawl. Well, this is what I'm going to start on, I think. I started on it and I wasn't doing very well. So I ripped it all out. It was a bit of a frog. I ripped it out, but I was using this yarn. Again, this was yarn that I'd had put up for a long time, and it was Rowan Fine Lace. And I don't know if you can see that. That was the fine lace. They're in 50-gram balls, and that is made with baby suri, I don't know if that's how you say it, alpaca and fine merino. So I'd had that, yes, it's 80% alpaca, 20% wool, and I'd had that stored up, so I thought, well, I'll use it, but it went all wrong. I hadn't been counting properly. I was trying to watch TV at the same time, and it all went horribly wrong, so I just ripped it back. So I have got that to do, and this pattern, it's a lovely pattern by Jenny Atkinson off of Ravelry. I'm pretty sure it was off of Ravelry, but anyway, and that's the pattern there, if you can see that. So it's a lovely shawl, so I will get round to that eventually, but I'm not 100% sure when. What else? I've got another pair of socks on the go. No. Oh, where are they? I do have another pair of socks that I'm working on, but oh, they're in here. Here we go. No, these aren't the socks. I'm going to start knitting this. Now, my daughter wanted me to knit this for my grandson. He's just over a year old. Again, that's King Cole. And just, I bought that pattern from out of a shop in Glasgow when I was visiting. She asked me while I was up there, so I thought, well, I'll just nip in and get it. So I'm going to knit that. There's other patterns on there as well. I can't remember how much the pattern was. I don't really like knitting baby clothes, I'll be quite honest. I just don't. I don't know why. I think it's all the sewing up and that afterwards. There's that one on there as well. But I thought I'd do that. And she just wants it plain navy blue. And I'd already got some yarn stashed away. And it was just the Robin double knit, which I just picked up from the garden centre, which is quite cheap. I don't know how much it is, about £3 a ball or something. Because I know what will happen. She'll just, it'll just get slung on the side and thrown in the washing machine, and they won't care about it. And it's only going to fit for 5 minutes. But the thing was, she asked me to do one, and it was just as I was about to go away to Glasgow, and I already had a knitting pattern from some jumpers and cardigans I'd done him before, but I didn't have the exact measurements, so I guessed. And guess what? I guessed it wrong. So I was going to do that one there, that little jumper there, and then I forget what happened. I was going to ended up doing the cardigan. I think I ended up doing the cardigan for some reason. I don't know. Anyway, so I started knitting it, got halfway through it. So I've done it all, I think. I just need to sew it up. I've got to do the button band. So I've got the back. I've got half a sleeve. Oh no, I did do the... Did I do the... Oh God, that's the... Yeah, so I did the cardigan. So I've got the back, 2 halves of the front, and 1.5 sleeves, and then realised it was going to be far too small. So I'm just going to finish that off, and then that'll go into my charity bag, and I shall send it off to charity. So that's that. I have got also some socks, which I wanted to show you that I've started knitting. So so that was that pattern. It's a really old pattern. I've had it for absolutely ages. It's all fallen to bits and everything else. So that's that. I'm just going to see if I can find these socks. I thought I had them here. I don't know where they are. If not, I'll just have to show you the next time. Everything's such a muddle. I really do need to... Oh, here they are. I thought I'd have them. So these are my next pair of socks. So I've cast on, and I've just done the top down socks. So I've just done the ribbing at the top. This is in West Yorkshire Spinners Peacock. So the last one, these ones were Kingfisher. I do like my blues. And this one is going to be Peacock. And the pattern I'm using is out of this little leaflet from the Winwick Mum, which I got off of eBay. But I think you can still get it from her website. And I've always knitted just plain vanilla socks, and I thought I would be a little bit adventurous and knit these boxy rib socks. To be honest, you can't really see the pattern on them much, but I thought, well, you know, it doesn't matter, and then if I do make a mistake, it's not going to notice too bad. So I'm going to give those a go, because I haven't done socks with a pattern before. So so I'm going to give those a go. So hopefully they should be done. I've cast on, that's as far as I've got. So that's it. So I haven't really got anything else to show you today. The only thing I would say is, as you know, I'm a bit of a YouTube knitting podcast addict as far as watching podcasters go, and I just wanted to share with you two, which I think you should check out, and that is, oh no, there is something else I need to show you, and it's the ranunculus pattern. Oh, what have I done with it? Honestly, I shouldn't be allowed out. What did I do with it? got it here somewhere. Do you know, I've got the pattern. Well, you've probably all heard about the ranunculus. It's here. Here it is. That's the ranunculus pattern. Now it's all over Ravelry and YouTube if you want to check it out. If you just put in ranunculus knit along, it was a knit along back earlier in the year. I think it was April that they did it, and yeah, and it's a brilliant pattern. You can use anything from a lace weight up to a double knit, and it's more of a recipe than an actual pattern, and you just take it, it's all knit in the round, and I thought I would start and knit that, but I need to get some yarn for that. I could use one of these perhaps. I could even use that. I don't know, I might give it a go. But I fancy it in a double knit rather than in a lace weight. It's to be baggy, well, not baggy, but you know, it's nice. Or you can knit it smaller. It does lots of different sizes. So we've got the young girls there showing it off in the lace weight yarn. We've got a lady there showing it off in the double knit or worsted weight. It is an American pattern, and it's great. It is a paid pattern. So there it's got more of a rustic kind of feel, but there's some great tutorials on YouTube that will help you through it, because you're using German short rows, and I won't show you too much because obviously it's a paid pattern, but you can see use your German short rows, and so for me it will be a little bit complicated and I will have to think about it, but there are lots of people on YouTube that do it, you know, will help you, and they're showing you it bit by bit. I can't remember the lady's name and the YouTube channel, but if you look on there, if you put in the search ranunculus tutorial, no doubt it will pop up. So that is something else I want to start as well. Yeah, so I don't think I've got anything else to talk to you about today. I hope it hasn't been too much of a muddle. If you've stuck with me this long, you've done really, really well and deserve a medal. And as I was saying, I just wanted to share two knitting podcasts that I tune into, which I really, really love. And the first one is Ruth Knits. She is a lady that lives down in Devon in the UK, and she is so cheerful. She is absolutely lovely, and some of the things that she's been knitting has inspired me to go and knit them myself. There's the Noncho that she has recently knitted, and I fancy having a go with that. But she's so cheerful and lovely. She's not podcasting at the moment because I believe that she's taken a break for a while, but she will be back I think in about 4 weeks time. So I'm really looking forward. I've actually binge watched all her podcasts right from the very first one. They're fantastic. I love them. As I say, she's so cheerful and it really inspires you. And the other one is A Simple Life, and the lady on there, she is from the northeast of England. She has recently gone through an illness, and she is so inspiring, and the work that she does and she knits up is lovely. She does other crafty bits as well. She really is nice. They both are. So I suggest you check out Ruth Knits and A Simple Life. And I hope that you will come back to me despite dashing off every 5 minutes to go and get you something to show, despite all the rustling and the ruffling of plastic bags and paper. Yeah, I want you to come on this journey with me and so we can delve into some inexpensive yarns that we can knit up that look just as good as the expensive ones. Not that there's anything wrong with the expensive yarns, you know, they're great, but sometimes, you know, we do have to be a bit frugal, and especially with the what it's like at the moment, with as far as the heating costs and electric costs and petrol costs, it's never ending. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that perhaps with their yarns and everything are going to have to draw back and perhaps, you know, look after the pennies a bit more. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I hope you'll come again and probably do this in about a fortnight, perhaps 2 or 3 weeks. And yeah, so press the bell or whatever it is you have to do to be notified. And I hope you'll give it a thumbs up. Really, it'll make me happy if you do. And hopefully I'll see you again. Thanks then. Bye bye.